better hold on to your honey, because you're in bear country. Welcome to the PC Nation Playbook, your go-to source for Pierce County sports and events. Join your hosts, Joey Lee, Andrew Cuneo, and Jeremy Gove from the Mike Birch Ford Showroom for the latest news, in-depth analysis, and exclusive interviews with coaches and players. Join the PC Nation. Go Bears!
Welcome to the Pierce County Nation Playbook. We're here at Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, Georgia, live in the showroom. It's our first show, and we are lucky today to have a special guest with us, a Pierce County legend, former coach of mine, and our current athletic director, Brandon "Rock" Jernigan. Coach, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Andrew, and it's a pleasure. And I don't know how lucky you are. We'll see at the end of the show, but right now, we're very honored, and we appreciate all the support that Mike Birch and you guys here show us on a weekly basis. So we're very thankful to be here.
Well, we appreciate everything you do for our kids in the community, so it's ditto this way as well. Joe?
Yeah, we love this community. I think it's the greatest community on the planet. I know a lot of you guys agree with that. Coach Heron would agree with that. He loves being here, and we love Pierce County football.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. It may not have always been that way. I was looking back to when I was in school at some of the records, and I think it was 2-8 my freshman year, 0-10 sophomore, 2-8 junior. So I want to talk a little bit about the culture of Pierce County football from days of old. That's right. From back in those days to where it is now. Like, how do we go from being, almost a joke to on top of,
Yeah, it comes from expectations. First of all, starts in community. And, our community support is unmatched. We cannot, there might be a few communities around the state that might raise a little more money than we do and have financial support. There's no dollar for dollar, person for person, there's no better community, I don't think. That's attributed to our fans on Friday night coming out to the games. What other town, you're going to have 19,000 people and 3,000 of them is going to be in the stadium. That ratio is unbelievable. So I think the culture has changed by the expectations of not only community, but in the administrative staff. From our board of education, we have just got an unbelievable board of education. From the 5 board members to our board office, with Miss Bennett, superintendent, on down, and through Miss Murray, our leadership at the high school. So we're just in a unique, special time right now that everybody's on that tug of war rope pulling on the same way. There's been probably times in the past that there's been few people on the other side trying to snatch it back the other way, keeping us at bay. But right now, everybody's snatching the snot out of the rope on the same side, and it's fun.
Right, and as far as football, the old saying that winning breeds winning too. So just I think as we started to get a little bit more confident in all of the things that you talked about there, and then it goes right on down into the students and the players wanting to come out and play, and they put in an unbelievable amount of effort too. I know.
You're exactly right. Energy and excitement, winning breeds all that. Because there are kids that if it's not fun, and winning's fun. We're not going to sit here and lie to anybody. If you're not winning, it's not fun, and there's not a lot of kids that's going to do it because it's too hard. But with the culture that is set here through from the top through Coach Heron and his staff is just it's a crazy time right now, and you see all the dynasties have runs. We're hoping not to hit that low. You look at some other communities in our local area who's had highs and lows. But we're hoping that what's been built is sustainable, and and then we're going to do our dead level best to keep it that way.
That's right. So I want to take you back a little bit further, back to Rock. Brandon "Rock" Jernigan. How did you get the name Rock? I've always known you as Rock. I was several years behind you, and so every time I call you, I still reach out to you, and you're Rock to me. I know you're Brandon Jernigan, but to me, you're Rock.
Yeah,
that's right. Coach Rock.
Coach Rock. Lance Funberg, as a matter of fact, gave it to me back in '91 during some of those slim years. You know, we were 1-9 that year, and Lord have mercy. First play my freshman year, we got hit with an 80-yard touchdown pass play action with Clinch County. So, not that I have any bad memories of that, but kind of like Vietnam stuff. But needless to say, we were in fall camp, and we had a little kamikaze thing that, you know, when the coaches blew the whistle and yelled kamikaze, you better have your head on the swivel because somebody's going to hit you. And poor old Lance is a dear friend of mine, but I think Lance was going after old freshman here. And for some reason, I had my feet dug in the ground hard enough to it stunned him a little bit, I guess. And, you know, of course, if it stunned the senior quarterback, you know, and he's, you know, I think the comment was like, you know, he was solid as a rock or something. And from that point on, you know, Coach Boy and the football coaches that were on staff there, that stuck. And I went to college with the name, you know, because Lance, as a matter of fact, the funny story about Lance, he went to Valdosta State prior to me, and I attribute a lot of my opportunities to go to next level playing college due to Lance. And but I give all credit for the nickname to Lance Funderburg.
Plan your hunting getaway and escape to experience the beauty of Mossy Pond. Our diverse property right here in Pierce County allows you to enjoy various types of hunts, including plantation-style quail, hog, pheasant, and flooded timber-style duck hunts, all within 24 hours. At the center of it all, experience scenic, rustic, beautiful, and inviting amenities like luxury lodging, our first-class pro shop, fine dining, and the perfect event space. Book now and see why Mossy Pond Lodge is Georgia's premier hunting paradise.
Stop into Mike Birch Ford to check out the future-ready Ford Expedition. The future is for everyone, so be ready in an SUV made for the future. Ford Expedition, available with Sync 4A to help you stay connected, and hands-free highway driving with available Ford Blue Cruise. Be ready in a Ford Expedition. Now get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months on all 2024 Ford Expeditions in stock. Stop the search. Call Mike Birch today.
But back then we always opened with Ware County. When you came through, did we play them then?
We did. We did. As a matter of fact,
you graduated what, 94?
95 graduation. 94 was football year.
Okay.
And that was the first year of consolidation. And the game was 41-8. You know, so not to throw any slide at anybody.
They won.
No, sir.
We won. Okay.
Yeah.
We beat them 2 years.
We
beat them 2 years in a row, right?
We did. We had 4 running backs, as a matter of fact, and I probably won't. I don't need to rank them if this is going public. But I can tell you this: we have 4 horses in that stable that can tote the ball at any time. Boo Williams being one of them that went on to South Carolina.
Yeah, when he hit the corner, he was gone. All he had to do was hit that sideline, and he would leave folks. But you know, all the guys that play with you tell me Tyrone Miles was the man in between the tackles.
Well, and Michael Mincy. I mean, what a bowler. I mean, just and then Noel Arnold was the other one. You know, Noel was one that he could do the old pops. You know, he could jump from the free throw line and dunk a basketball. One of the most athletic jumping to ever come through our system.
That was 4 pretty athletic guys that you just named right there.
Unbelievable. You know, in the secondary we had Damon Moody who sealed the game with an interception there. But if it was 41-8, and it was a little closer probably what that score indicates, but we did put in 2 late in the fourth quarter, but we were glad to do it.
I was going to say, that didn't hurt anybody's feelings across the river right here.
Absolutely. They had that year 36 seniors, and what was funny is my first coaching job in '99. I went to Ware County, and some of the old staff, the E.B. Prices and the Joe Haluskis and the Jay Howards and them they were part of that Waycross Ware County combined staff, and as a matter of fact, Coach Dale Williams was the head coach. And I said, guys, what in the world? I mean, y'all had 36 seniors. He said, Coach, we had so much talent we didn't know what to do really with it. And, you know, there was so much, and I'm sure I wasn't around playing in the 80s when Patterson and Blackshear combined, but I'm sure that which I think Pierce put off pretty well that first couple of years anyway.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right, for the better teams that we'd had up until this stretch now.
Yeah. You brought up Damon Moody, and Damon, he sits over there where I normally sit on Friday nights, and Big Ray Teston, who played with you as well.
Yes, sir.
And Damon was reminding us the other night that he still holds the single season interception record.
Yes.
Probably the year you're referring to right there. I think he had 12 in the regular season, and then threw on one in the playoff run, I guess. So he ended up with 13 INTs, and he says Joe Drew's going to break that this year.
I
And
sure
so
hope Joe
I've been
does.
counting it. Joe's got 4 through 3 games, so
played
he's on
good so
pace.
far.
Joe's unbelievable, and we could talk. What most everybody sees is what he does on Friday nights, but what some people don't see is what kind of guy he is. I mean, he is the most remarkable young man. I would trust with anything. He is just an unbelievable young man. Comes from great parents. Got a wonderful sister. Just an unbelievable family.
That's more of a compliment than being a great athlete.
Yeah.
So
He's as great of an athlete and ball player he is. He's even a greater guy. So.
Awesome. Going back to you, so you graduate from Pierce County, and as you mentioned, you go and play at Valdosta State, right?
That's right.
And so, how many years you play all?
Well, I was there for 4 years. I graduated. I played 3. Unfortunately, I was recruited under Hal Mummy. And Mike Leach was my offensive line coach.
Wow.
yeah, wow.
Well,
Mummy ball.
Mummy ball, and he spoiled us. I mean, it was just unbelievable. My first morning camp, all the upperclassmen were saying you don't need to go on full pads, and I said, "No, y'all ain't get me in that trick." I mean, hey, I'm from Pierce County, but I'm not dumb. I got a PhD, a Pierce had a diploma, and but I went out in full pads that first morning, and I looked around, nobody else was in full gear. So Coach Mummy's practices were an hour and 45 minutes. Coach Leach, we would talk for about an hour and 15 minutes, because everything you saw Mike Leach was just like he was in 1995. I mean, is character. I tell you, some of my greatest experiences were playing under Coach Mike Leach, and we also had Dana Holgerson on that staff, who was at Houston, and a few others. Some of our student assistants are now Mason Miller, who was a SEC offensive line coach at Mississippi State. So
that coaching tree from that staff right there. There's a picture actually at Valdosta State in the Buffalo Wild Wings of all places, and it's that coaching staff from that year, and it's got kind of pointed out to the side where these coaches are and what their kind of their accolades have been since then. It's amazing what was at Valdosta State during that time.
And then followed up 6-7 years when Hatcher came back, because Chris Hatcher was on that staff. He brings in then a young fella named Will Muschamp and Kirby Smart. And I'm not saying Will,
they must have turned out pretty good.
I think we've heard of them, but Mike Leach. So needless to say, we played 3 years under. 4 years. First 2 years was under Mike Leach and Coach Mummy, and then the last year and a quarter was under Mike Kelly, and we just kind of hit a few roadblocks and little bumps, and even back then there was some not the transfer portal like it is today, but JUCO players coming in, and so we just opted that last year that we kind of split ways.
Yeah.
No NIL deals back then, Coach? No new cars at the
Yes, that from Bob and Jackie Jernigan's. Mike Birch wasn't giving no
We definitely
water
got you
sport.
one back then.
Absolutely.
Any titles? I know Valdosta went on a title run. That was before they went on that stretch, though, right?
Well,
While you were
yes,
there?
we did win the first Gulf South Conference championship while we were over there. Lance was, as a matter of fact, was our starting quarterback. Harlem Hill winner. As long as Hatcher was 2 years previous, it was Harlem, which is equivalent to the Division One Heisman. But we did win the Gulf South Conference Championship. As a matter of fact, I want this to go live and in person. Yes. A very interesting fact was Coach Herron was on the North Alabama team that we defeated 38-35. And he whines about being taken out of the game in the second play. Now, he still played because he is tough. But he separated his shoulder in the second play of the game against us.
He came back in.
He came back in. Oh, yeah.
He's tough.
Coach Herron is he as hard as he is and tough as he is on the coach. He played that way as well. He was brought up by a coach, Coach Big Daddy. Robert Herron was a legendary
Legend,
coach,
right?
absolutely, from Mississippi to Alabama to Georgia. His name's all over record books all over them 3 states. And but Coach Ham was on that North Alabama team that we beat in triple overtime, 38-35.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So you graduate from Valdosta State, and then when was your first coaching job? So after that, did you come straight back here to Pierce County, or?
No, sir. I went to Ware County. Well, we took a job, probably financially, reasons, because when you're young and you're just starting off a family, you're not really worried about the school. And I'm not saying Ware County is a bad school system. Ware County's got a great school system, but I was chasing more of the dollars in a big division. Back then it was 4A. Pierce was AA at the time, and had 1 or 2 opportunities to come back, but just decided it wasn't best. And so I spent 4 years at Ware County, had a few folks, Andrew was over there middle school playing some baseball, back in the early. I think you were were you 6th grade at that point?
I was just about to say, I think you went to Williams Heights, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, so I missed you by a year. Red Dog was my PE coach.
Yes.
And,
Well, I did have Ansley. Ansley was in there, but wasn't she? Because you left.
Yeah, she was right behind me.
Yeah.
We didn't come over here until my 10th grade year.
That's right.
So,
but you were already at
I
middle
was
school at
gone
Waycross
before you got
Middle.
to Williams Heights. That's correct.
Because you were there in 2000. That's right. But I had little Ansley, and then Abby was not. I left before Abby got there. So, but we were able to coach a few kids like Fred Gibson, Gerald Anderson, Donnie Carter, Matt Rio, Eric Dial, who's Eric's daughter. She's on a competition team. Oh, what a phenomenal athlete. Ishmael Williams, Mashar McKnight. So we had
One of the most athletic Ware County teams ever.
is unbelievable.
The talent that was on that team was unreal.
Yep.
I was young and realized how good they were. And unfortunately, they played in probably the toughest region in the state back then.
We were at Bazemore High. We were at
And that's when Valdosta was at their peak. It's not the Valdosta that we've seen a couple of years here and there. Now they've thrown a state championship in there, but
That's right.
back then they were consistently.
Absolutely.
One of those teams went all the way to the title game, right, and then got beat.
Which one? The Ware County?
Yeah.
Oh well, no, that was 07.
Yep.
I'd left in I left
athletic
in.
group.
Oh yes, I left in 03 as a matter of fact because I spent time at Ware from 99 to 03, and then I had opportunity, got a relationship through a wrestling coach who was at Tiff County. He took the head football job at Swainsboro. So in 03, Shane Williamson offered me the offense coordinator job, and that was my goal. I always wanted to be a coordinator in 5 years of my career, and wanted to be a head football coach within 10 years. And so I was kind of keeping that pace going, and so I went to Swainsboro for another 5 years, or for the next 5 years, and then in 08, the boys were school age, and I said, you know what, let's come home, because needed to be around family, and needed to be in a great school system. And Swainsboro is also a great school system, but it's just something different about Pierce.
Oh yeah. We're glad you came back home.
Oh, hey, I'm glad to be accepted back home and I kid people all the time. I had to stay gone far enough. I had to stay away long enough for people to forget how bad I was, because I used to want to be trouble, and so I always tried to be respectful. But I used to be a young mischievous, knucklehead.
Like we all were. Like we all were.
Well, I say in this room there might be. I don't know.
So when we brought you back here, whose staff were you under, and what was your role? What were you doing then? So you came back in 08?
I came back in 08. Mike Woodard was an athletic director and head football coach, and he had started the wrestling program the year before. And so I think wrestling was more of the carrot for him than what maybe I could do for him in football. But I took the defense coordinator job in football, so that was another kind of incentive. I thought, well, I've got offense coordinator experience now. I've got defense coordinator, or going to get defense coordinator experience. But the biggest thing was he said that I was going to do wrestling, and because my first wrestling experience, I was at Ware County in '99, and the head football coach at the time was Dan Regal, and he brought us in. He said, me and Coach Shook, who's now at Coffee County, and he said, one of you is going to be the head coach, one of you is going to be assistant coach, and I was too fat and slow to raise my hand first. So Shook raised his hand. He said, "I'll take the assistant job," and I took the head job, or I was given the head job. So
Blessed with it.
blessed, yes. But so wrestling was probably the thing that drew Mike, to probably offer me the opportunity more than maybe football, but. So we did. Now I did one of the things was I had to get out of a sport. I said, because I'm not going to do 3 sports. I've done 3, baseball, football, and wrestling my whole career. And I'm going to be daddy. And that was the time boys were coming up and starting to do some rec ball stuff, and I want to be daddy. One season out of the year, because football is almost year round, but you throw wrestling on there, and then you throw another baseball. That's I think it adds up to more than 365 days a year.
Yeah, it's a full-time job.
That's it. Yeah. So we did footballing. So when Mike hired me back, we did football, defense coordinator, and wrestling. And then he was here for 2 years. And then a good friend of mine, Sean Pender. It was 2010 season. Mike was the administration had decided to go a different direction. So, and I didn't feel it was appropriate. That was about on my 10-year mark. I was like, yeah, you know what, this might be the right time. And, so even though it's hard being at your hometown because friendships and people, may expect some things, I said, but, I'm going to give it a shot. So I waited about a week. And Mike, I wait. As a matter of fact, Coach Wood come up to me and said, hey, are you going to apply for the job? And I said, you know what, Mike, I've been considering it, but I really wasn't sure because I was on staff, and I really didn't want to be a bad look, because I've never backstabbed, but, it would give that appearance, unfortunately. And so anyways, he said, man, go ahead. And so I picked up the phone. Anthony Smith was the principal at the time, and picked up the phone, and Sean Pender and Anthony were very good friends. And Anthony knew Sean when he was at Brandon. Right. I said, hey, Sean, I said, do me a favor. I said, call Anthony up and tell him, give a recommendation for me. He started laughing. He said, Rocca, he said, Anthony called me this morning about the job. And he was at Crisp at the time. He was over at Cordell. And I said, are you going to take it? He said, I don't know. And he said, you still need to apply. I said, no, I don't want to apply. If you're going to get the job, I just want to coach with you. And he said, I don't know yet. He said, let me think about it. So a day or two later, he called me back and said, hey, I think I'm going to take it. I said, so, hey, let's do it. So I did his offensive coordinator job for, I think, four of his 6 years here. And then
did y'all score any points?
A few. We gave up a lot of points,
too. We gave up a few, too, but scoring was never the issue with Coach Pender here.
No, it was. Hey,
it was fun.
It was fun to watch. Absolutely.
So, and I do attribute a lot of that to the energy and the excitement because, like Andrew said, it was fun, and people now bought into the fact that we score points. We were winning games 60-50.
I'll never forget that Liberty County versus Pierce, and it was. You had
60.
Stetson Bennett and Richard LeCount out there, and it was probably one of the better high school shows I have ever watched, and it was fun.
Oh, it was, yeah. I mean, when you had Cadillacs like that running around, it was. And Stetson was a special player in high school. But interesting fact is, we didn't even win a region championship win. A winner like Stetson Bennett, I mean, who has done tremendous, and he did tremendous things at the high school level. But we were never a region champion during that.
That close, like Andrew said. One man, Richard LeCount, kept us from being region champs.
What a freak athlete he was, man. Oh man, there was a couple on that team that were just jam up.
Some dudes.
Well, you had Warthall,
the defensive tackle. He was a stud.
Yeah, there was a good stretch,
and huge kid.
And we, Liberty, transitioned out of our region. So, really the last, I'd say 5 or 6 years, it's been a two horse, race right now. Not saying that can't change this year. We picked up Cook and Cordell, and so things are going to be interesting. But Appleton is always kind of who we look at the measuring stick.
Every year. That's the game I circle anyway. It doesn't matter what the records are of those two teams. And here lately they've been really good. But even back in the day when, it might be an 8-3 team or a 7-3 or whatever team, that was going to be a really good game. That's your rival. that's who we look forward to playing every single year. So.
And Andrew, we were talking off the air earlier, but Andrew's got a little, he's got a little
He
bit
got a little history with them,
He's
doesn't
got a
he?
little history with it, because it was 09 season, right?
That's right.
Okay, 09 season, we were going in and running triple option, and Brett DeLoach was the year before quarterback, and Brett come up with that summer maybe and had some shoulder issues and decided to opt out, and so Andrew, QB1, calling up, and what game? Was that in the game 7? It was mid-season.
First game back from, I hadn't been injured my whole career. Separate my shoulder the first game of the season.
Yep.
Come back and
We were on fire.
first play of the game, I break my leg.
Yeah, there's a little bit of penetration there. There's a guy squirt through on defense line, and we had a little pile up, and next thing we know, we're hauling Andrew off, and I don't know if I'm in more tears than he is, because that's our guy right there. But he is. Andrew was tough as nails and a competitor, and a lot of fun to coach and be around.
Maybe not all the time.
Well, I mean, talking about Appleton County, you look at them on paper and you look at them on the field. I mean, just like last year, they look like they should win it every year.
They're beautiful. I mean, they're
They run out and
Right.
I mean, it looks like Jernigan's back in high school,
Right.
running out of the tunnel, and there's
Yeah.
5 of them.
Right. They got a squad every year, it looks like, and the quarterback they have now obviously has given us problems ever since he's been there. We might have got the best of him his freshman year, but
He looks like Bo Nix every time he plays us.
right, every time he plays us, we
Right
get the
now.
pressure on him, send linebackers through. Somehow he breaks free and either makes a run to pick up the first down or slings it down the field to somebody that's open. So he's given us a lot of problems. But that was and I know Heron talked about it, Coach Heron last year. We had a young team, didn't know really what the expectations were. Appleton County supposedly is the best team in the state in AA football. And they come to town and we take them all the way to the wire. Probably should have won the game.
I played them probably that night.
Yeah, probably should have won the
Scoreboard's
game.
the only thing that matters. So.
And
That's
they
the
beat us,
tournament.
right, they beat us in the final seconds, on a 42-yard field goal or whatever it was. And I think right then is when our guys, they started to, hey, man, if that's the best team in the state, we can compete. We might can give this thing a run. And I think that's what ignited it last season for us.
Yeah, they started to believe.
Yeah, every week.
I can tell you this, I made several phone calls that night, because even as athletic director, I wasn't sure. I was like, all right, we're decent, but after that game, I said, yep, hey,
Right,
we
can
got
do
this.
this.
And then you saw what happened the following week. We go to Toombs, and really, that was a 17-14 game, but it was not a 17-14 game.
How many times have you heard
Oh,
me
yeah.
say, Joey,
We
game
talked about
should
that
have
this
been-
week.
It should have been. Granted, Toombs was a really good team last year, and they've still got that quarterback and receiver that are awesome. But
That's right.
that game could have easily been, and should have probably been a 35-7 game. And made a couple little mistakes, and good teams capitalized on that, and they ended up making it a down to the wire game. So
They did.
But,
No, Toombs, and you seen what they just did this week, up there in Rome. And
Thump Rome.
yeah,
That's a big win for that program.
Coach Martin and them over there does a tremendous job. He's got the mentality of Coach Harrington, just older school, just hey, because everybody can draw up stuff on the board and out scheme everybody. Everybody thinks football has changed, and some of the wording and terminology, it's about how you get kids to play hard, and that's how Coach Heron wins. That's how Coach Martin over at Toombs wins. But going back, I don't know if y'all have heard this update, and I know this would be public now, but it is public now that Dason, the quarterback, is out for a season over at Appleton.
He's out.
He's
I hate
Suffering injury or
he blew his ACL out.
Oh wow, yeah. Hate to hear that. I mean, he's
I
been a
do too.
tremendous player for them.
Yeah, as much as we want to win against
Yeah,
Appleton,
right.
there's no kid's future, and his future's baseball. He
Really
was
good baseball
committed to
player.
Georgia, and so definitely my thoughts and prayers are out to him.
For sure, for
His
sure.
family, we're friends. Me and his father are good friends, and the second I heard it, I just got an empty pit on my stomach, so I had to text him. I said, "Please tell me that's a story," and then he said, "Unfortunately, it's not." And so, if the whole Appleton County team, because even though on the field we're competitors, but them are children,
That's
and,
right.
Oh, yeah.
and we want
Hate to
them
hear that for any kid.
Yeah,
And,
prayers definitely out to him and his family. That's awful. I hate to hear that. hopefully a speedy recovery, and
Absolutely.
he's still got a bright future. Kid's a stud baseball player. You don't have Power 5 schools lining up to sign you, without that. So hopefully speedy recovery, and wish him luck at college. That's a bummer, man. I hate that.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks. We're excited to announce that Waycross will be getting an upgrade in the fix-it department. Locally owned Farmers and Builders is the latest helpful addition to the neighborhood. Visit their new location at 121 Victory Drive in Waycross. You can count on Farmers and Builders for hand-picked products like Traeger, Milwaukee, and Yeti. Not to mention award-winning service and advice you can count on. Join us November 22nd through 23rd, 2024 for the grand opening of Farmers and Builders in Waycross. Bennett & Johnson Insurance is an independent agency with the customer in mind. We have relationships with dozens of insurance companies and are dedicated to finding the right coverage with the best company at the best price for you. Contact Bennett & Johnson for all of your insurance needs. Go Bears!
Speaking of, Ryan and the coach over there at Toombs, everybody knows what Ryan Herron's going to do week in and week out. Now, we threw a little wrinkle in this year. We're lining up 4 wide and throwing it all around right now. But I have a feeling when it gets down to nitty-gritty, we'll probably see the big bear a little more. And I know Cade, he can tote the ball 40 times. So I like seeing him throw it, especially as an old quarterback. I love seeing him throw the ball around. And he's got a gun. But Ryan Herron, if you're playing him normally, he's going to line the ball up, he's going to run it down your throat, and he's going to play defense. If that's not old school mentality right there,
Yeah, and it's funny watching us, like Andrew said. I mean, it seems like we did that last year too. Every year at the beginning of the year before we get into region play, we come out, against Brantley County, look like we're playing Spurrier ball out there, just throwing it all over the place, 5 wide, like he said. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, like Andrew said, we pretty well know what we're going to get. We're going to get the sniffers up there behind the line, and we're going to try to run it down somebody's throat.
That's right. When you got a kid like Caden McGaffey, number 7 back there, he's tough as nails. And the game that I realized was that Fellowship Christian game. I don't know, if y'all remember that game or not, but we went up there to Roswell, Georgia, and Caden got some snaps in that game. DJ went down, and Caden come in, and I said, my goodness, it was his sophomore year. I said, this boy's going to be all right. And, if he can throw the ball a touch, just keep people honest. And last year, he did enough to get by. This year, like Andrew mentioned, his accuracy, he has thrown some dimes.
Yes,
He's
thrown some beautiful balls this year. It's no longer and I like it for him because no longer can those naysayers say, oh, he's throwing gimmick passes. You run the ball, and then he's throwing to a wide open guy. This year, he's lined up in shotgun 4 wide, and he's throwing the 10-yard out, the 10-yard out route, the 10-yard in route. He's hitting that guy on the skinny post. He's made a lot of really good throws this year.
And he's throwing some good guys.
We got Joe and Nigel out wide. Those are 2 tall guys that can make plays. And
might be the fastest kid I've ever seen. That joker can fly.
And put a little nugget on Chance. He's only a sophomore.
Sophomore.
Started as a true freshman in middle infield at Pierce County for baseball. Played some meaningful snaps last year. Of course, it now doesn't come off the field for a football team.
Right.
But you know what? I was standing on lunch duty yesterday, and I had Mr. Michael Murray, the automotive teacher, and he commented on what kind of kid he was in the classroom, how attentive he was to detail. Because, sometimes a jock gives the impression that, only football matters, only baseball matters. But Mr. Michael Murray was bragging, and this is an automotives class, that he is attentive to detail, that he's well-behaved, well-mannered, and that's what we got. Our student body, is just unremarkable. Yes.
Yeah, you could see his freshman year, they obviously realize what kind of speed that kid has. They're trying to get the ball to him. And he doesn't have the experience yet, but now in his sophomore year, you can see where he's improved a lot, and we're getting the ball to him. He's making the plays, And like you said, I mean, taking every snap pretty much. I mean,
Well, you seen that intercept, that
Safety
ball
on
Hawk he did
defense,
yeah,
right.
They jumped up over. I mean, so athletic. Last week against Wayne.
coaching staff might have liked that a little bit.
Absolutely. yes. We enjoy effort.
Speaking of the game, Coach, what are we thinking this week? We're running into a team 2-2 on the season. Probably the most athletic team that we're going to play this year, or not so far this year. Let me rephrase that. Got a quarterback that's thrown for over 700 yards. Got a receiver that is a state champion in the hurdles. Really athletic kid. Any insight on what Aaron's got, brewing over there to kind of minimize the damage?
Yeah, it's like we talked off air. Coach is going to kind of pour them out a little bit. He's going to lose Holtz them a little bit, but they are. This is probably the most athletic team we face. Not taking anything away from any other team that we face,
sure.
but this team offensively will give us the most difficulty that we face
That's
so far.
right.
And so there are some. Talk to Coach Morris, defense coordinator. There are a few little game strategies that they're going to try to minimize some of the damage. But anytime you're playing a team like that, they're going to hit big plays.
That's right.
And what I love about our kids is they don't get down and pout. They just, I know Coach Pender's saying was always play the next play. We don't necessarily see that now. As far as verbally say it, but the kids do it. They play
It's
next play.
understood now.
Oh yeah. If not, you won't be on that
That's
field.
right. That's right.
You will be over there encouraged to do the right thing. To just play hard. And these kids play so stinking hard. I mean, they just what Coach Herring and this staff does. So again, when you play hard, there's going to be breaks, there's going to be busts, there's going to be breakdowns. The coach is going to call something that may or may not work, but Coach Herring and his staff will take full ownership if it's something on the coaching, and then he'll hold the kids accountable privately, because he never is going to criticize a kid for a bust, but privately they'll correct it and get it right. So.
Now Sunday when they're grading, he might bring it up then.
Oh, absolutely. There might be some extra suicides and some conditioning going on, and some. I know Logan Clark. He after the game, it was we had beat. I think it was Coosa, as a matter of fact, and he had jumped off sides 4 times. And,
yeah.
It was not the fact that hey, great, we just beat Alabama team. Hey, fun. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm dreading Sunday. So they know there's consequences, and I'm glad they know it. Because if there's not consequences, they're going to keep doing that stuff.
That's right.
And what I loved is his daddy was one of the main ones, because Avery coaches defense line. My son coaches the defense line, and he was like, hey, you make sure you get them. So the expectation for the parents are to hold these kids accountable.
Well, that's how you know the community's bought into the process. There's no, coaches treat my son bad. It's, hey, make sure he's doing right so that he doesn't do it again the next game. So,
Did you ever coach with Ryan?
Me and Avery were talking about it last night. His first spring here in 2019 was his first spring, and I went out that spring. That
was as a head coach role. His first
Ryan
spring, right? Because he was here before.
That's right. Yeah, he was here back in the early 2000s.
So you weren't a part of any of those teams.
Now we face each other. I was at Swainsboro. He was at Dublin. He got to Dublin in 2004. And I'd face them there.
Dublin teams then.
Oh, absolutely. Woo. They were stacked up. But there was many battles between Swainsboro and them. But Ryan, I was not here. Ryan was here, I think, 01 to 03.
He was on that Final Four.
Yeah,
he was part of that group, and then I think he left, like you said, after that. And I did not realize he was at Dublin though.
He was at Dublin for 1 year. He was with Coach Davis, Crash Davis here, and then when Coach Davis, when they made a change in that, that's when he took the Dublin job for a year.
Yeah. You're talking about Craig Davis, right?
Craig Davis, yeah. Crash, Craig Davis, yep.
Yeah. He took us all the way to what, the Final Four that year?
Yep,
02. We got put out by Buford.
Yeah, funny story about that. And I don't know how much time we got. I could talk all day, man.
We talk football all day.
But funny story about Anthony Smith is I'm a Pierce County alum, so I can say it with a good, pure heart. But sometimes we do things a little a little differently than what Buford people do it, okay? So Buford's got propane sideline heaters and good, nice, high dollar stuff. And the principal comes up to Anthony, who was the principal at the time, and said, sir, he said, did y'all bring any? It was cold that night. I was not able to be there because I was at Swainsboro, as a matter of fact. But he said, Miss Smith, did y'all bring any sideline heaters? He said, well, he said, we brought our 55-gallon drums, but if y'all got a few extra spare tires, he said, we forgot our tires are burned. So his joke was that old country boys coming to town with some 55-gallon drums with some burning some tires instead of y'all's propane heaters. But that was a very talented team as well.
Yes, I mean, according to the Buford people, that we were the toughest team they played all year. Mm-hmm. Similar style to what we run now. I mean, we play defense and we run the ball, a different kind of formation. It was kind of Tyler Simpson from the fullback up the middle every play on the fullback dive, and he would wear you down.
Outside that year too, that you could throw it up to.
Sammy Nell was out there, and that's what right now some of the kids, with Nigel, and so we're starting to see some of the family members of them.
That's right.
So it's a blessing of a cycle.
That's right.
That's what you see the Charlton groups. You see them having them cycles because of genetics.
Ooh, they got them over there. Good Lord.
And so you didn't ever coach with Ryan. You say Ryan showed up in spring of 19 as head coach.
Spring of 19, and I was out there spring of 19. For two reasons: to show unity, because I want everybody to understand. Hey, athletic director, and there's probably a little more important that I did it with Jason Strickland. So I coached full time with Strickland because at that point the AD in the football job was split as far as different roles, and it was just important to us to show that because I interviewed for the head football job, but when they split it, I was like, hey, listen, please. Because I know longevity, an athletic director could probably sustain longer than a head football coach. Yeah. At least if the track record proves herself.
That's right.
So I stayed with Coach Strickland, but then when Coach Herring got here, I did coach the spring with him, and then he was able to fill the gaps, and because it was a late hire, if y'all remember.
Yeah. So that's when you transitioned to athletic director.
Well, I transitioned to athletic director in 17 when Coach Strickland got the job.
Gotcha.
So I was full-time athletic director then as well. But when Coach Herring took the job, I just wanted to be there just until he got all the puzzles
in place. Yeah.
And then once he did, I kind of got out of the way. So because I would probably hold up the progress right there. So them guys know a lot. They've forgot more football than I know. Even though the game has not changed, we have got a tremendous staff.
Oh, yeah. And I know you help them out a lot, too. And then those years and the following years, you already mentioned Avery. I mean, you had Avery and Austin coming up through the program.
I don't know how much they helped them. They probably gave more heartache.
Austin is probably a part of the most memorable play in Pierce County history.
I was going to say Austin definitely has got to be a legend for what happened with the Christmas County game when we thought all hope was lost.
I still get chills on watching that video.
Look at it right there.
I was about to say, it'll pop up randomly on my phone. Somebody will send me that clip, and you just hear the fans erupt.
Oh man, I'm about to tear up right now. As a matter of
we'll
fact,
all cry about that. Coach, I mean, I thought it was absolutely impossible. I mean, probably anybody who grew up in my era, your era before, would have thought it's impossible for Pierce County to win a state championship in football. And then for the play, I mean, that was the play that Austin made, that kept us on track, put us over the hump, and ultimately sends us on, to where we go on and win the state title. I mean,
and this is just we went over to Fitzgerald that year, got beaten in a close game.
Yeah.
And, I'm on the way home, and I'm like, I rode with my dad over there, and I said, man, dang, I thought we were a little bit better than them. He said, Bears going to win a state championship. Said just like that. And I said, he goes, Waycross High School, 1981.
Yep.
He said, went over to Fitzgerald, lost to Fitzgerald, went on a run, ended up winning the state championship. Yes. He said, watch. He said they will win a state championship.
DJ was a little banged up that game.
A little banged up, and still probably had 180 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was.
But he did. He tweeted. Got pulled down from behind and
on a kickoff, wasn't it? Or maybe he broke on the run.
Yeah, he was broke on the run. Yeah, on the offensive snap. But your dad, because my brother-in-law was on that same team, and they talked about that.
He said it's meant to be.
Pierce Timber Company is proud to sponsor the PC Nation Playbook and our Pierce County Bears. We are a full-service timber company from purchasing to harvesting to reforestation. Pierce Timber is your resource for all of your timber needs.
He says
lost
it's meant to be.
sure.
Would you have thought that Pierce County could win a state championship in football?
If I can claim immunity from not being fired because of support,
Yeah.
that was a hard stretch. Very fortunately, Coach Herron and the staff and the other administration didn't really. Hopefully didn't. Well, I know Coach Herron didn't have. As a matter of fact, he told me, I was sitting in his driveway because I was concerned about the defensive line. In 2019, we graduated some studs.
Yeah.
But then that year, because Austin gets some of the credit, for picking up the ball, which I think he had about a 15, 20, 30, 50-yard head start before anybody realized what was going on. But needless to say, Ty Little, the defense lineman, one of the stars of that team, was one that started that play.
Suplexed him.
Absolutely. And that ball squirted out, and it was laying at the feet. And Austin even, I was
A lesser athlete would have fell on the ball, but so.
I was snot bubbling crying after the game. I said, buddy, what? He said, Daddy, he said, I don't know. He said, it was there. He said, and I thought they blew it dead, but I was going to take a chance. But my wife, who, if y'all know her, is a very passionate person. The Appleton County game.
Soft-spoken, really.
Just a gentle soul.
Yes.
Sweet soul when it comes to competitive sports. And needless to say, she's on our sideline on the bench, just hands in her head, just so broken that the game's over. Because at the point it was 13-12, and it was a minute and some to go, and we're like, there's the season, but I didn't know what was going on, because I was kind of looking around, see what I could start cleaning up on the sideline. A minute and 40 to go, so I was like, well, okay, we've had a great season. Let's start looking for next year. But needless to say, when they started running down the sideline, and then the next thing you want to look for is flags, because there's a flag somewhere.
That's right.
There's a flag coming out, and very fortunately, because that crew that night was prepped that it was a physical game between both teams. Maybe there's some shots that should have been taken by both sides probably, but we'd prepped the officials that please be on the lookout, and first play of the game is when they did that on the kickoff, and then hit the holder on us there late in the game, and so it was a very chippy game, but we had a big one called on us right out of the sideline. That was should have been called. You keep it controlled.
Right.
So I'd rather keep it. I don't like to see a lot of laundry, but I think that might hold a state record for sportsmanlike penalties in one night.
There were a pile of them that night.
From that moment, though, it starts to look like fate. Whenever something like that, a play like that happens on a game that should have been put away, honestly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're talking about some of the athletic teams, Appleton, that Chris team, they got Chris Paul, who went to Arkansas, and he was just one of the big names. But the Chris has always had just great athletic kids, and very fortunately, our kids just didn't buy into the fact that they didn't match up. Because you put the game on paper, and Pierce wins some games, and they probably don't win some games, but you put it on the field and they're going to win more games than not because they believe that they should win it.
That's right.
So when you were asking me if I believe that we can win this state championship, if I've got to be dead honest with you, I'd have to tell you that would have been a hard thing I could have put money on it, but I would have always dreamed it and hoped that it could happen, and now sitting here
it just
4 years
didn't seem
later,
possible. For what we grew up and knew is what I'm saying, and that's part of that culture change.
Absolutely.
I know that came along.
I was about to say, and then to follow it up a couple of years later, you win another one,
right.
and that's.
But
you told me we'd have won one, much less two. I said.
I kept telling Andrew last year, I'm like, I think this team's got a shot. I know they're not. We don't have the DJ Bells. You know,
Well, we didn't know we didn't have the DJ Bell.
Right.
We got Caden now.
We didn't have Jamarian. You know, we didn't have the guys that were running. You know, out of that big ball formation. Right.
Look.
That's right.
I wish you would give me a heads up because I struggled a little bit. You know, that Rockmart, I was kind of a little.
Oh man.
But you know, leading up to the playoffs, I felt a lot more comfortable throughout those games. You know, but
we get the luck of the draw, right?
Absolutely.
And for everybody to have to come to Bearville, I mean that's
nice.
That's nice, and it's a tough environment for those teams to have to come play.
It's unreal. What our fans, what Keith, and what from the air horn, you know, and I know that's always been the debate about how much Keith talks or how much the air horn can play or how much, you know, when Georgia High School gets involved, anytime you come in the week one of the playoffs, but then you start getting deep and then you start getting visitors from Georgia High School, you start having to tighten up.
Sit up there with them.
They don't know what they're really getting into until they get down here. You know,
I think they do know what they're getting into.
Well, they might know a little.
There.
They might know a little bit, but when they get here, you know, we got some of our fans sitting over there with them.
And that's why, you know, Georgia High School made us move the band over. And we never do the band. We do the band on the other side due to seating proximity.
Right.
You know, it's not to
I love the
poke
band
the
being
band. Yeah. I mean, I sat beside the band the other night at Wayne County. You know, anytime it just brings energy.
Oh, yeah.
But I just to clarify, anybody who from another county might listen to it, this is not to. This is due to a seating capacity. You know, if we felt the other team was going to have the same amount of seats, we'll move them. You know, we felt Fitzgerald was going to do it, but also Georgia High School. You know, we said, hey, we're going to move them to the end zone. So
and they brought a crowd from Fitzgerald. They did. Yeah. I mean, they thought they were coming to beat us.
Oh yeah, well, that's a proud football tradition over there too.
Absolutely.
They won a lot.
Yep.
Speaking of winning, what are you thinking about this week's game? You know.
Yeah.
Back to New Hampstead.
That's right.
You have you watched them play any?
I've seen bits and pieces. I'll be honest with you. I try to stay out because I don't
you as
want to be
athletic
that
director,
coach.
You're not actively out there coaching. So
That's right.
Well, good.
Like Andrew said, I mean, they got a quarterback that he is a little bit of a dual threat, but mostly he's going to stand back there in the pocket and throw the ball all over the place. Is what it looks like to me. And they do have the one guy at receiver, but he spreads it around to all of them. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to challenge our secondary for sure. But then, you know, we've talked about Joe, we've talked about Nigel, we've talked about Chance back there. You know, I think those guys will be up for it. But they're definitely going to probably give us more of a challenge through the air than anybody that we've faced in a while, I think.
And Coach Herron and Coach Morris as well. But I've never been around smarter defensive people, you know, and offensively too. But Coach Herron and how he schematically does things. I mean, he can whip you all day long on board, and then if you got a twist to it, he's going to be able to get it modified to get it. So I never doubt our offensive stuff, but Coach Herron and Coach Morris on the defense side of the ball, I think will have the game plan in place. Do I expect points to be scored? Absolutely, you know, because that's going to happen.
I think we'll score.
I think we'll
a few too.
Yeah, it should be a fun ball game. You know,
That's right.
Will it be that 13-7 Oconee game? Probably not.
No.
But
What's your score prediction, Coach?
oh golly,
because you are the coach. You can give me the non-coach talk right here.
Let's go say 35-21. You know, maybe 28 on them. You know, of course, I like another shutout, so somebody else get their head shaved. But you know, that's the deal. But unfortunately, I think everybody's hair is safe this week. You know, we're playing New Hampstead, but you know, it would be nice. I think most of their defense coaches would be gladly to shave their heads if they can hold these guys to a goose egg.
Joey, what are you thinking this week?
I watched them play a couple of games last night, you know, getting ready to talk about them a little bit here. So I'm with you. I mean, I think they're going to put up some points. I don't think we're going to get that shutout. 4A school, they're bigger than us. They got some athletes. But we seem to consistently, you know, be around that 35 to 41, 42. You know, those are our 3-point totals this year. I think we're going to put 35 on them, and I got 14 for New Hampstead, 35-14.
Right. Jeremy, what are you thinking?
Well, I don't feel as good about my numbers now that I've heard what you guys have had to say.
Is this the Bear?
But I was
The Stanford Bear.
but I was thinking what I was looking at what I've seen and what we've talked about and everything. I'm thinking we're going to stick with that same pattern that we've seen this year. I think we're going to pull in 42 for the Bears, 42 to, I'm going to say 28. 42 to 28.
42-28, Jeremy. You had 35-21.
35-21 to 20. Let's go 24 just to make
35-24, okay.
And we may have to track this and just see who's consistently
I'm writing it
closest.
down over here. I got 35-14.
lunch on Monday for.
Cuneo, what you got?
I'm a true homer. I'm going Bears 48,
Oh, I like it.
New Hampstead 17.
Nice.
Nice.
I think they'll put together something to box in the receiver there and kind of limit what they do.
What's it like on? I know you're the athletic director, but you're highly involved too on what goes into Fridays in Bearville. So getting ready on Friday nights, at home. What's that like? I mean, I know you put a lot into it. What are you doing getting ready for the game? I know you.
I'll be honest, Joey. I try to stay out of the way
And-
because
We've got people in place, that are.
I'm telling you,
Pretty
the
well-oiled
team-
machine.
The team's unreal. I mean, Friday night operations honestly goes under Robbie Spire. Like from 5:30 on,
Yeah.
I mean, she's the one hustling the gate. She's the one, she organizes all the gatekeepers. Robbie Spires is, the epitome. I mean, she's. I won't give her age because I've got in trouble before, but I can tell you this. She is young at heart and at spirit and at energy. Chester Clements and his crew, honestly, for stadium setup, they do a pile of stuff for us, from putting up flags to pylons to bringing out chains. Then, of course, Keith and them come in with the show, It's just like Andrew said, it's a well-oiled machine that everybody has their roles, and I just try to honestly get out there and
I
try
see
to
you
do-
running around though, doing a lot of the stuff.
That's because I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to find out if somebody could tell me where to go. But needless to say, it is. I don't know. I couldn't. I truly. This is not just talk for. I truly love the opportunities that we get. I couldn't imagine doing it. I could actually be working a job, and I would hate to work a job. The role that I get to serve is. Now I wouldn't want to pay them because I'm too cheap, but I am thankful that I get paid to do this, and it's a blessing. And being a part of our community like this is it's just unmatched. I mean, you don't go, and I won't refer to no other counties, but there's not other places that you can go and have that support and have that freedom and trust,
Right,
because,
that's right.
And that's what, and I tell people all the time, I try to make up for my laziness by saying, listen, I'm just empowering you. I'm just giving you some delegating it, to give you, because I've always wanted to be treated that way. When I've been a head coach of certain sports, do me a favor, just tell me the expectation.
Right.
Give me any guidelines if I got to have any, and then get out my way.
Right.
And please don't make me come to you about every little detail. And when coaches, when we hire coaches, we hire them, under faith that they're going to be hardworking people. And are we 100% batting on every single one of them over the last 8 years of being AD? Maybe not, but.
Well, y'all hired Ansley, so I know y'all aren't batting 1,000 right now.
What's that?
Y'all hired Ansley, so I know you're not batting 1,000 right now. I'm messing
She
with
is.
you.
Hey, her and Abby are the two greatest coaches in the world, and then Mama Robin. Mama Robin kills up, but no, Ansley, she's precious, and Abby just knows. I mean, she is a go-getter. I mean, she is a worker. And that's what honestly our whole staff's based off of.
A lot of great coaches.
It's that bear mentality, isn't it?
It is. I mean, because you don't stand on top of them. They go get it. They make schedules. I just try to honestly be a support staff. And that's, does it show great leadership? Probably not. It shows probably that I'm unknowledgeable, but you just try to stay out of the way and offer assistance.
Well, Coach, We appreciate everything you do for the kids, everything you do for the community, and appreciate you coming on to the show today. It's been
We
a
took a
pleasure.
lot of your time.
No, hey, I've been
appreciate
running my
it.
mouth.
But
Make 3 shows of this.
yeah, but thank you for our first show, making it a success. Joining us here today, Joey, Gove, thank y'all as well, and that'll probably do it for the day.
Go Bears.
Go Bears!
Go Bears.
Stop the search.
Go
Call Mike
Bears.
Birch.